All right, everyone. Now it's time for fight the fear-mongering with Styx Hexenhammer. We got to talk about the MSM's stupid coverage of the deer zombie deer epidemic. Oh my God, it's going to infect humans. We'll all be zombies soon. For those of you who aren't aware, right now one of the big sensationalist stories among Page B style tabloid bullshit from all of the MSM sources is this zombie deer disease. Now, disease, you'd think, oh, a virus, bacteria, something. That's not what they're talking about. It's prions. It's a disease in the sense that it's a technically infectious agent capable of causing a deleterious effect, but this is not a living thing. What prions are, for those of you who didn't take, maybe at least college prep level bio in high school or something, prions are misfolded brain proteins. In some instances, across species capable of potentially infecting an individual. Now, here's the mode of infection. Here's how you get zombie deer disease into the human population. You kill a deer that's got prions, for whatever reason, and you eat its neural matter, the nerves, brain, and so forth. If you are not eating its fucking brain, and you are careful to and not eat the spinal cord, among other things, you're not going to get prions from it. No, you're not going to get prions from eating some venison jerky that's been properly prepared. It's simply not going to happen, even if the animal is infected. And the likelihood that the animal is infected anyway is, of course, fairly low. If you're taking younger individuals, they're less likely to be infected anyway. Prions is a degenerative thing. What happens is, under certain circumstances, through various means, basically the mutation of protein, a protein in your brain that normally is folded properly. See, the three-dimensional structure of a protein matters. It functions, you can denature a protein, like when you cook an egg, you're denaturing proteins. They're folding in a way that they're normally not folded. The egg changes color. The protein is still there, but it's folded differently, and I'm assuming the heat probably destroys some of it as well. What happens with prions is one of your brain proteins, for some reason, has misfolded. It's misfolded in such a way that when it physically contacts another brain protein, it causes that brain protein in turn to misfold the same way. What happens is that they begin misfolding one another at higher and higher levels. It becomes degenerative and debilitating. Eventually, you can die. Depending on the thing. This happened with mad cow. Mad cow was the result of improper feeding of cattle. This was back in the 80s and 90s. It was big in the 90s. People were terrified of it. They're like, oh my God, hamburger sales plummeted at the time, which wasn't a bad idea at the moment. Yeah, some people who ate some of these products back in the 80s and 90s are a ticking time bomb right now. I hate to say that. I could have prions right now in me as a result of those techniques. What happened is they were feeding the ground-up dead remains of cattle to other cattle. Now, normally that's not a problem. If you're removing the head and spine and just feeding them like, the rendered bones and meaty parts and organs, it's not going to cause prions. It's not. It might cause other health effects that we don't yet know about, but it's not going to cause a problem. It's morbid. It's cannibalism. I'm not sure why they ever started doing this. They started burning all the dead bodies because of this happening before realizing, oh yeah, it's generally safe, but don't feed them one another's brains. It's not a good idea. What happened is an individual with prions. Normally prions, while it exists naturally, like humans can have prions in their head anyway. It can just be the result of mutation. It is most prevalent and only significant among cultures where people cannibalize one another. I think there are certain groups in New Guinea that do this. They ritualistically eat the dead, and most of those dead are going to be older. Older individuals are more likely to have prions, and it compacts. They eat that material, they get prions. By the time they die, they're more prevalent, and each successive generation potentially has more and more of this effect. This is what's happening among the deer. Somehow I think, are the deer ingesting one another's brain matter? It could be transmissible between deer, but the odds of you getting prions through any as yet not fully understood effect other than eating the neural matter of an infected deer is low. If you see a deer stumbling through the woods acting funny, do not eat it. Do not approach it. Do not get near it. Problem solved. If you don't know where the venison came from, don't eat it. Problem solved. And the farmed deer, on a ranch probably aren't infected. These are some wild deer, and also moose and elk apparently, that are sort of sharing this disease. It could be that there's some sort of disease that tends to cause prions that's, otherwise largely non-aggressive virus or bacteria. Maybe there's some sort of disease that's transmitting between them that tends to cause brain proteins to malfunction. There's no evidence right now that it's affected humans. And this isn't a new thing. Prions have been quantified for some time. So when you see these MSM articles saying, oh my God, scientists say zombie virus zombie disease in deer may come to humans. Yes, you could absolutely get this disease. Some people probably already have it, but it could take 10, 20 years for them to show symptoms. Be careful of your food sources. Meat, yes, you should make sure not to eat the brain matter of animals. It's not a good idea, because our brains and their brains tend to use similar proteins. Yes, you can get prions from them. Less likely, of course, most animals aren't going to live long enough to develop prions. Statistically speaking, at any reasonable level. If it's being cooked, there's no guarantee that that protein makes it to your brain anyway, even if it is infected. You eat the mad cow steak, it doesn't necessarily mean you get prions from it at all. At least at a measurable level. Maybe you end up 70 and you start showing symptoms. Well, at that point you might get demented anyway. It's going to be difficult to tell the difference between that and certain forms of dementia, like Lewy body dementia or something. The symptoms will be similar. I wish that these people would consult the doctors that they usually consult for health news before they start rabble-rousing and getting people upset. You've got all sorts of people right now are up in arms thinking that all of a sudden you're going to have literally zombies walking around with this weird dementia in a daze because they ate venison, and it's going to start transmitting directly from human to human. Oh my God, we're all going to die. No, it's not going to happen. You should be worried about influenza going Spanish flu mode, or Ebola becoming, resistant and then going airborne. Those are things you should worry about. Why don't you worry about those? Or nuclear war, something that's more likely statistically to happen than a prions-based zombie virus somehow managing to transmit human to human on a regular basis. By the way, the number of individuals categorized and quantified with this disease is not that high. This disease has probably been around for 1,000 years anyway in these animals. Whatever's causing it, whatever secondary cause might exist probably was already there. Well, it's like, it's just nobody noticed before. It's not a big deal. You've probably been eating this infected matter anyway. Infected, I use that term loosely because it's not a virus or a bacteria or a parasite or anything. Maybe there's some sort of parasite that just has a tendency to affect the neural matter in some way. It's possible. Doesn't seem to be affecting humans. Look, there's still technically mad cow out there. There's all sorts of problems in our food supply. I'd be more worried about the fact that we cram animals in like sardines, and they spawn like all sorts of weird flu variants and shit, especially over days of swine flu, avian flu, H1N1. I'm much more worried about influenza than any other disease in the world. It shows a readiness to mutate. It's already pandemic every single year. It's shown in history multiple times. It's capable of mutating once and killing 10% of the people that get it. 10% of the world dies. Okay, so a few 100 million people die. Oh, that's nothing. Yeah, that's not major. It's certainly a lot more major than some prions and some deer's fucking brain matter. Again, don't eat the brain. Don't eat the spinal cord. Don't eat it at all if you have any reason to believe it's sick. Maybe you should avoid areas where this is known to be happening at any significant level. Avoid hunting there. Go elsewhere to hunt. Problem solved. You're fine. That's about all. Peace out.